I've been personally disappointed by his films for the past decade. You know, Elysium was more concerned with its messaging than its story, characters, or world building. And Chappie was well...
But gangster. Yeah, keep a gangster. Yeah, be cool. Don't laugh at being cool.
Chappie. Hello, and thank you for checking out the video. I just want to let you know that I not only create content on my YouTube channel, Class in the Glass, but I'm also on Twitch, where I review movies, cartoons, and TV shows live, while also playing single-player games and multiplayer games. I also have a Patreon, where subscribers have access to hundreds of video and audio commentaries for films and cartoons, as well as podcasts and videocasts. In the meantime, thank you again for watching, and enjoy the video. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next part of my show, and that is my review for Gran Turismo. And then, for those of you that don't know, Gran Turismo is based on the unbelievable and inspiring true story of a team of misfits and underdogs, chat. A struggling working-class gamer, a failed former racer, and an idealistic motorsport executive. They combine forces and risk it all to take on the most elite sport in the world in Gran Turismo. Not just Gran Turismo, chat. Gran Turismo, based on a true story. They added that subtitle to the film recently for some reason, which I don't understand as to why. It's a little awkward, chat, but there it is. And, you know, before jumping into review itself, I did want to share my overall thoughts on the filmmaker behind the movie, Neill Blomkamp, and also just the Gran Turismo franchise, you know, the PlayStation games. You know, over a decade ago, I think a lot of us, loved District 9 and had it as one of our favorite films of 2009. I certainly did, and I thought it was the far superior sci-fi film that was nominated for Best Picture, chat. Certainly better than James Cameron's Avatar, chat. I see you.
I see you.
You know, it's the film that, you know, introduced us to Blomkamp as a filmmaker, certainly for the mainstream. You know, he had an interesting history, you know, with that film, and it was originally supposed to be the director of the Halo movie, right? Which you can actually find concept footage of. It looks really cool. And, you know, that's where District 9 originally spawned from, and also his short film, District 9. And I was certainly excited for what he was going to do next after that film, which I thought was great. But, you know, I've been personally disappointed by his films for the past decade. You know, Elysium was more concerned with its messaging than its story, characters, or world building. And Chappie was well...
But gangster. Yeah, keep a gangster. Yeah, be cool. Don't laugh at being cool.
Chappie. And I haven't seen his horror film, Demonic, but I heard that wasn't very good either. So going into Gran Turismo, I wasn't exactly excited. Plus, I never really played the Gran Turismo games all that much. You know, I'm not really into, realistic racing sims. I prefer goofy kart racers like Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty.
You know, I just really had no expectations, you know, going into this film. And I think that that might have actually helped in the long run after, you know, watching the film during and afterwards. And for those that don't know, the film tells the story of Jann Mardenborough. I think that's how you say his name, Jann Mardenborough. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing it. Who was a teenage Gran Turismo player from a struggling family who became a professional race car driver. He was so good at the game that he was actually invited, along with others, to get a chance to compete competitively as a racer, as a driver. You know, Archie Madekwe plays Jann, and he brings the underdog charm, you know, to his role. You know, not doing anything revolutionary, but he's putting in solid work throughout the entire film. You know, honestly, it's David Harbour who plays Jack Salter, who was a former racer and is now a trainer and mechanic, who is the film's standout, in my opinion. Whatever you may have, you know, whatever thoughts you may have about the trailers, you know, he's one of the most focused on, and for, good reason. He brings the most personality and passion to the film, and he gets, the best and funniest moments. You know, Djimon Hounsou, who also plays Han's dad in the movie, even though he's not in a lot, he's even underused in my opinion. He also does, I think, like a really good job. And there's a particularly like sweet moment between him and the actor who plays Jann Mardenborough. You know, he's very much that dad's like, hey, listen, I had a sports career, tried to do that, didn't work out. I don't want to see the same bad thing that happened to me happen to you. So to give up on this, you know, this life, this pursuit. But then, you know, of course, he realizes his son's passion and sees how successful he can be. I mean, it's something that we've seen before. Believe me, there's a lot of familiar things that we've seen before in this movie. However, he does a very good job in the film, and he excels at playing a father figure. You know, and getting to the more mixed aspects of the movie, you know, the races themselves, I think, are a bit of a mixed bag. You know, I liked a lot of the training segments in the film, you know, which is built around the GT Academy, the Gran Turismo Academy, where all these video game players are trained to be racers. You know, the entire group being whittled down eventually to like the final two, you know, which acts as the film's, you know, first third. You know, again, not to say that that there aren't races in the movie. Not to say that there aren't races, you know, in the movie. But so many of them just kind of become montages, you know, after a while until kind of the final races, like the final two big races. And I think that's the main issue I have with the film, honestly. You know, everything about it is fairly solid, with a handful of notable highlights, particularly with David Harbour, who is really funny and has some great moments with a number of the actors. Like he commands the screen with his presence, his large presence. But everything about this film is just overly familiar. It's the sports, you know, underdog drama that you've seen dozens upon dozens of times with the plucky, you know, underdog racer or sports figure. You have the sarcastic, bitter trainer and the obnoxious rival. You know, we've seen all that formula time and time again. And in a number of films, including, I mean, Rocky, A League of Their Own, Rush, most recently in the Creed films. It's like it's a trope that we've seen a lot of sports dramas, Chad. It's kind of tired. But for people that just like, you know, the rise, the fall, and the rise again stories, there's a lot that's in this film that features that. There's a lot to appreciate about it. You know, Gran Turismo is not going to be a sports drama, in my opinion, that will be my all-time favorites. But it's one that, you know, that entertains enough and is worth at least one watch. It's arguably Neill Blomkamp's best film probably since District 9. Though that's not actually hard to achieve, you know, based on his filmography, especially after Elysium and Chappie.
This fuck mother dog's ghetto, huh?
Because Chappie was Chappie, as we all know. But yeah, you know, I had no expectations going into this movie at all. I think all the trailers just pretty much showed you exactly what you were going to get, what each character was going to be. You know, there's really no any surprises. There's really no surprises in this movie at all. But there's nothing about it that I would say is objectively bad or that made me roll my eyes. Like it's all competently well done. It's just familiar. It's just extremely familiar. And you have another number of actors who I feel like elevate the material that they're given, especially with David Harbour and Djimon Hounsou. I think they're probably the standouts of this movie. But other than that, that's really it. That's really all that there is to this movie. You're going to get a sports drama. It's meant to inspire you and has these key moments in which it'll do just that. And you'll have some performances that will stand out and be wholesome and be endearing and will make you laugh. But other than that, that's pretty much the movie. But, you know, what about you guys? You know, what did you think of Gran Turismo based on a true story? Let me know. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and I want to take the time to tell you about my Patreon, Class in the Glass, which offers hundreds of film commentaries and video reactions to numerous movies, TV shows, and cartoons. If you're a fan of shows like Batman the Animated Series and Avatar: The Last Airbender, or films like Aliens and Raiders of the Lost Ark, my Patreon is the platform for you. Currently, I'm doing a subathon to reach 75 subs on the platform. If we hit 75 subs, we'll be able to start voting on the next edited YouTube reaction, which will include actual clips and scenes from the movies and shows I comment over. Choose from such films as Fire and Ice, Masters of the Universe, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, or Spawn. Subscribing at any tier level is appreciated, and feel free to give feedback at any time. Thank you again for watching the video, and see you next time.